dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good morning, I'm Katie Cook. Today is Saturday, June the 27th. 256 more Kentuckians have tested positive for COVID-19, and that's according to new numbers Friday afternoon from the state. As of yesterday, 14,859 people have been infected. Governor Beshear announced 7 more deaths from the virus, and at least 553 Kentuckians have died since the start of the pandemic. But more than 3,700 have recovered. Thousands of people received in-person unemployment assistance over the past 2 weeks, but Kentucky lawmakers were told yesterday that more than 50,000 people still need help to get claims resolved. More than 6,000 people alone haven't been paid since March. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has details on new help coming their way.
Kentucky lawmakers say they've been asked to do something.
Started out with frustration, and now we're to the point of desperation.
An interim panel meeting apart from a legislative session, but wanting to hear what has gone wrong and why so many are still needing help.
Coming out of the recession, there was a significant amount of UI staff over the past 10 years. That's been depleted primarily because of funding.
The cabinet deputy secretary also said former Governor Matt Bevin chose to do away with in-person help. A law was filed to restore that, but it failed. Yet lawmakers say with thousands still needing help, more could still be done.
Of not being able to feed their kids and losing everything they have than they are of the COVID, and we did not even bother to consider that when all these decisions were made.
In-person unemployment help will finally branch out from Frankfort starting next week, and it'll arrive here in Somerset and in Hopkinsville on July 7th. That localized in-person assistance will last at least 2 days. Somerset's mayor says that's welcome news because they too are fielding a lot of calls for help.
Dozens for sure that are still concerned, and you know, look, what are they supposed to do if they don't have those benefits and they're forced to not work? You know, how are they going to pay their bills? And so lawmakers and leaders admit that we are in unprecedented times, but say more could have been done and faster. And simultaneously, we didn't add those human capital assets to handle this wave that's coming.
Lawmakers say bottom line, they believe in the minimum, at least communication could have been better. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
In-person unemployment will be offered by appointment only. The United States is seeing a dramatic rise in new coronavirus cases. A surge in the South and West sent the number of new infections to an all-time high of 40,000 cases. Some states are pulling back on their efforts to reopen. The governor of Texas has ordered all bars to close, and in Florida, no one will be able to drink at bars. And California's governor says the surge could stop reopenings in some counties. Health officials say a number of new infections are coming from younger people, including here in Kentucky. Olivia Russell explains why.
Kentucky is just days away from phase 3 of reopening.
When things reopen, numbers go up.
Dr. Ryan Stanton is reminding people to continue following CDC guidelines for social distancing as larger groups are allowed to gather. He says people need to be more aware of potential ways to spread the virus.
Staying away from that little bowl of peanuts on the top of the bar, that's going to be a good first step in terms of preventing some of the spread.
He says behavior in bars is what concerns him, especially with the age group bars attract. According to the state's COVID-19 dashboard, people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s account for most of Kentucky's total confirmed cases. The numbers in those age ranges have even increased in the last month. But when you look at the deaths by age groups, you'll see those age ranges don't compare to the older groups. Dr. Stanton points out that even though there are many more younger patients, the good news is that they're less affected by the virus.
Because that patient population tends to tolerate COVID-19 better, less risk of admission to the hospital, less risk of intubation, and less risk of death associated with it.
But even though that group is less at risk, he's reminding people that the virus could easily spread to a loved one who can't fight it off. That's why as Kentucky reopens, we need to keep the basics in mind.
Wearing a mask, social distancing, washing hands.
In Lexington, Olivia Russell, WKYT.
Starting Monday, restaurants will be able to increase capacity up to 50%. Groups of 50 or fewer people can also gather, and swimming pools can reopen. Now let's check in with meteorologist Brooke Marshall for a look at your forecast this morning. Brooke, good morning to you. It's not looking too bad out there this morning.
Yeah, Katie, it's actually looking like a pretty good morning out there, but it's not going to last long. So if you want to get outside today, definitely the earlier the better. Let me take you to some of our current conditions so you can see these. If you look up on top of Pine Mountain at US 119, overall looking pretty good as that sun rised up over the horizon. You can see pretty dry conditions there and overall pretty calm and quiet, but we did see quite a lot of cloud cover last night, some overcast skies this morning in a lot of areas, and it's causing us to be pretty warm this morning. Your temperatures anywhere from those upper 60s to those lower 70s this morning, so actually pretty warm outside for this time. But on the bright side, we are mostly on that drier side. Looks like there's just maybe a little bit of rain down into Middlesboro. I don't know if all of that is hitting the ground, but we are going to pretty much stay on that drier side for this morning, but as we head into those afternoon hours, you can see we are going to start to have those rain chances return. So definitely probably going to run into a scattered shower this afternoon. So if you need to get outside, this morning's definitely looking like the time to do it. Katie?
All right, Brooke, thank you. On Monday, Kentucky will be in phase 3 of reopening. By then, every industry will be open to some capacity, and that includes movie theaters. But as theaters work through guidelines to keep guests safe, they also face a different challenge, and that's what to show. Nick Oliver explains why one movie theater is turning to the classics to bring back moviegoers.
The changes at Moorhead Cinemas start with the movie posters outside. From the classic like Harry Potter to the 1970s thriller Jaws. You won't find any new movies. That's because they are still in Hollywood.
We need something big, something for everyone to come out for.
Manager Daniel Todich says they and small theaters across Kentucky are at a standstill since reopening, waiting for restrictions to be lifted in California and for studios to push their films out once again.
With the lack of new releases, it's definitely impacted business because a lot of the movies that we are currently showing, you can watch at home on Netflix or anything else. I guess excitement is what's missing, because as exciting as it might be for myself or yourself or anyone else for something like Goonies or Jaws or Empire Strikes Back next weekend, it's still not the same as coming out for, say, Black Widow or A Quiet Place 2 or something big that you've been looking forward to for a year or two.
People are showing up for some of these classics. Of course, maybe not in the numbers that managers here would like to see, but they do say some people are showing up that haven't been to the movie theater in years, all to take in their favorite classic.
We actually really enjoy people coming out and getting that little 2-hour burst, so it's kind of nice to be here and offer something for people to come out.
The theater says for now they will keep showing the classics, all in hopes something will change soon. In Moorhead, Nick Oliver, WKYT.
And a police official in Harlan County could face up to 30 years in prison after a civil rights investigation by the FBI. A federal grand jury indicted Cumberland City Assistant Police Chief Kenny Ray Raleigh on 1 count of unreasonable force by a police officer and 1 count of obstruction of justice. He is accused of punching and kicking a man repeatedly while he was laying down during an arrest and ordering an officer to charge the man with assisting arrest to prevent a civil rights complaint. We reached out to attorneys representing all defendants in both the criminal and civil cases and have yet to receive a response. A trial in the criminal case is set for August 25th. Many restaurants that were once closed due to COVID-19 are beginning to open back up. Shenanigans in downtown Hazard opened their doors yesterday. WYMT's Lacey Roberts talked with the owner about how the business is going these days.
I did kind of expect to be busy. I didn't expect to be that busy.
Michelle Combs, owner of Shenanigans, opened her doors Thursday to a pleasant surprise.
Of course, I shut down on April the 3rd and just now coming back.
After almost 2 months of shutting down.
Actually, I stayed open as long as I possibly could. Had I not actually started to lose money, I would have stayed with it. But it just wasn't economically feasible for me to stay.
With only 2 employees, including herself.
Within 40 minutes, there were 5 of us. and it was all we could do to get the orders out. And for a little place like me, a 40-minute wait's a big deal.
The orders flowed in.
Thank you for calling Shenanigans. How can I help you?
Crazy busy. I actually got quite a few new customers.
Menu items include unique choices.
Grilled peach and honey panini.
With a meaningful background.
This is a very salad. All the ingredients in here are either locally sourced or house-made.
Like, for instance, this is homemade jelly that I use to spice my honey.
Also unique, gluten-free options.
We change everything, like the cutting boards, the knives. There's no cross-contamination. We have panini griddles just for that. I don't use fryers. If I fry anything, it's air-fried. Everything's done right here on the panini grills. I don't have an oven.
But more than anything,
I just like people to like my food. I don't have any real expectations. I come in and I take it day by day.
Knowing either way, the community will show up and show out. In Hazard, Lacey Roberts, WYMT Mountain News.
Events and festivals are being canceled or postponed, but a few in the mountains are still pushing forward. One of those is the Manchester Mountain Music Festival. The festival in downtown Manchester is still scheduled for August 27th through the 29th, and organizers have been working with county health officials to come up with plans. The event will have workers wiping down public surfaces every 20 minutes, along with other social distancing procedures. Organizers say the event means too much to the community to postpone or cancel.
We've lost several businesses in Manchester since March, and this festival weekend alone, we always boost our economy for the entire year 60%.
The festival is free to attend. Food trucks and other vendors are still expected to be on hand. A new boutique hotel is open in Pineville, but the COVID-19 pandemic did not stop the owner from finishing a months-long project. WYMT's Dakota Makris spoke with the owner and has more.
Lisa Gregory is a chiropractor and the owner of Boone Inn. She has worked on renovating her new Airbnb boutique hotel since October.
I just really noticed the amount of people that were traveling on 25E to go to other places or come here and go hiking.
This sparking life to a new idea.
To open this Airbnb for just a really nice place for people to stay.
Her office was shut down due to COVID-19, which gave her a more hands-on role.
I was here pretty much every day with the workers, the contractors, trying to get anything they needed.
Making sure the project was on time.
If they had any questions, I wanted to be right here so it didn't slow down the process at all.
Watching the hard work pay off.
I love every time someone comes in here and they see it for the first time. I mean, their reaction is just, it makes me so happy.
Waiting for her first guest to enjoy the labor of love. In Bell County, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Gregory says you can rent a room individually or the entire space. We will have a link to book your room over on our website, WYMT.com. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, as some are losing their jobs during the pandemic, one Manchester woman received help from an unlikely source.
And you're going to want to get out those rain jackets because showers return this weekend. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
Appalachian Wireless